Hey, this is Troutbitten Tips. Thanks for joining me. Let's look at fishing dry flies in faster water. Riffles, runs, pocket water, just complex current seams, because there's really kind of a unique set of skills to getting great drifts that really fool trout in some faster stuff. So I'll give you 3 big tips to really get that done. Some of the best fish really hang out in the faster stuff. So if you can get the drifts, you give yourself a really good chance. You also open up a lot of water that honestly a lot of people skip because maybe they don't quite know how to get those drifts. So dry flies, fast water. Are you ready? Here we go. So I think you'd probably agree that, I don't know, most people don't fish this stuff with dry flies. I've even had people tell me that, fish won't eat dry flies in the faster water. That's absolutely not true. They will eat it, but you still need good drifts. So I guess another question is, does like a precision drift, like a really good dead drift, still matter? Absolutely, it sure does. I'd say, in fairness, I think trout are less forgiving in the faster stuff because they got to make faster decisions. But getting a good drift where that fly is going the same speed as the current seam that it's in is still critical. It always matters. You're going to set that baseline. Basically don't accept that, it's just going to drag because it's in faster water, because it does not have to drag. So I think a lot of people will say, faster water, you're going to need bushier dry flies. That's not true either. I'm always if I'm fishing dries, I'm almost always using a fly that I expect the fish to eat. Let's say they were eating size 18 olives, up in the flat stuff. Then I expect them to eat 18 olives down here too. So I don't want to put on like a size 12 wolf or something, big and bushy. I guess it'll ride. We think that it's going to ride better, that it won't get swamped just because it has a bunch of hackle and buoyant wings on it. But the truth is, what sinks a dry fly is dragging tippet on the water. If I took this dry, even a size 18 olive, threw it in the water, in some of the fastest stuff up there that we're going to get to, then it really wouldn't get swamped very quickly. What really swamps a dry fly is that tippet attached, especially then when that tippet drags. So, just like any other time, you're trying to keep the tension off of the dry, trying to keep the drag off the dry, and you can really fish almost any fly that you want in this kind of stuff. So I'm not in the fastest water here, but everything we're going to talk about, hey, you see that? It's a decent little fish too. That's what we say now, decent and little. So this is not the fastest stuff, but everything that we're going to talk about here really applies to, like the fastest water that you can find. The principles hold, no matter how complex the seams get. I kind of chose this to be able to approach it, be able to see some stuff that we're going to talk about here. So to me, the most fun thing about fishing dry flies is that you can see success. Here I can see on my dry fly that it is going with that current seam. There's no guessing. When I'm under the water, there's a lot more guessing. Here I can see what it's supposed to look like, and I can see what it does look like. And if it's not right, I'm gonna make that adjustment. So it's kind of more work to fish the fast stuff too, and maybe that's why a lot of people skip it. There's more, it's almost constant motion. You're gonna see this. It's almost, constant mending motion. I'm not expecting to get long drifts. I'm aiming for really short but effective drifts. To me, it's fun. I guess it's more work, but it's more fun because I'm moving. If I'm fishing a flat, it's often, longer casts, and I'm out here and the drifts can be pretty long. I might throw one mend in a flat, in some soft stuff, and the whole pace to the thing, in flatter, softer water is just different. Here, we're going to see what it really takes. Let's get to the 3 things that really matter to get good drifts on a dry in the fast stuff. So, like I said, I'm just fishing a dry. I expect them to eat. It's kind of ant season for me. Summertime is always ant season. It's a size 14 parachute ant. Most mornings they eat it. All right, so the first first thing that really matters is you have to build slack into the cast. I call this a lagging curve, and then there's on top of the lagging curve or with the lagging curve or to accentuate the lagging curve is a crash cast. It looks like this. The leader's built to do this as well. I'm building slack. It's not just about where the fly goes, but also then most importantly, is how the tippet goes. I do not want a straight line going across there. It's just gonna drag immediately. We got all these currents just cutting through the tippet, you know, to create drag. That's not what we want, right? You have to build slack into it. So really purposeful slack is what I'm gonna get out of this lagging curve. We have a full video here on the Troutbitten channel about the lagging curve. Josh and I filmed it. Now, I'm not gonna go through it all, but look at how that's laying out. The fly's going in and all the tippet that I'm putting is up here. It's not just the tippet section either. It's a lot of the mid section. Even some of the butt section is part of that curve. You can see it. Again, it's not straight out. To get the lagging curve, I'm taking what would normally be, you know, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, kind of vertical or perpendicular to the water. I'm just taking my arm, watch, I'm just taking my arm from here to here. I call it a lagging curve versus a power curve. I'm not kicking the fly around all the way. I'm just not giving it a chance to extend, to get full. I'm not getting full turnover. We always talk about you want turnover. I don't want turnover here. I want the lagging curve. So that's that concept. Go check out that video. There's so much more. There's probably 20 minutes on a lagging curve for you. But what I'm going to do then, in addition to this curve, is to force it down even faster. The lagging curve's great really in all kinds of water, but in this kind of stuff, in the faster stuff, I can't kind of wait for everything to just lay down. You got to realize your fly line hits, then your leader hits, because they are heavier than your dry fly, and then finally your dry fly hits with a normal cast. The line, leader, and then the fly. The crash cast kind of takes care of that, because what happens is by the time your dry fly lands, your tippet's ripping off downstream. Your whole leader is kind of going downstream in this faster stuff. And that's really the crux of the problem. So instead of getting that cast over the water, I'm forcing it down onto the water. I'm taking that sidearm angle, and now I got my back cast up there, and the fly and the leader and that curve is coming down and hitting the water. So a crash cast looks like that. I call it crash because I'm literally taking the curve of the leader in the cast and pushing it or crashing it down onto the water. It's not going to spook fish in this kind of stuff. You can really see that ripple. It's the leader that's bloop, rippling onto the surface like that, and then the fly goes down. So I'm kind of putting things down on my terms. The leader lands, that curve of the leader hits, doot, 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 and it unrolls, unfolds with the slack where I want it and upstream of the dry fly. So it's leader and dry fly real quick onto the water. You can kind of see it, boom, like that. And I can stack all the slack where I want it, and I'll get good drifts even in some faster stuff. I'm kind of rolling through this crash cast concept pretty quick. It's in some fish and film videos that I have on the channel, but I'm sure we'll dedicate, probably pretty soon, we'll do it this summer, Josh. We'll do a full video on just the crash cast, but I think you get the concept. You're taking that lagging curve and forcing it down onto the water because you don't have time for the leader to land, the tippet to land, and then the fly to land. You need everything at once. Hey, I want to thank Orvis for sponsoring this one. I've been working with Orvis for a long time. I guess it's about 7 or 8 years now. Really, too, my first fly reel was an Orvis bat and kill click and pawl. It's come a long way to the Hydros now. So I started paying attention to Orvis rods when they came out with the Helios. And now they're on the 4th generation. This is a 9-foot 5-weight H4. This is one of my go-to rods. I really keep 2 rods strung up in the truck, kind of ready to go every day. I love this 9-foot 5-weight because it can kind of do anything. I mean, you know, it's classic. 9-foot 5-weight, tackle almost any jobs you can think of. So the newest H4 to me is lighter and more powerful. I'll say too, I choose the F instead of the D series because I also throw a mono rig and fish, you know, anything under the water. I love to have the tight line system under there, and I do that on this rod quite a bit. Yes, 9-foot 5-weight tight line rig. So check them out. Thanks to Orvis for supporting the Troutbitten project, and thank you. Another thing that really matters in fast water, you're not trying to get long drifts. You're just trying to get short but effective drifts. As soon as it's dragging, I'm out of there. I don't care if it's 20 feet of a drift or 30 feet. I'm not going to get 30 feet of a drift in faster water. I might get 5 feet, and that's great. That's just fine. So I'm getting shorter drifts, and I'm closer. I'm not throwing 50 feet of line. I'm not throwing 30 feet of line. So far, the most line the furthest away that I was probably 25 feet. I mean, from where my feet are to where the fly's landed. In the fastest water, you're gonna get as close as you can. Sometimes you're right under your rod tip. Let me show you more about that. Oh, see him? So I should mention too, I'm fishing a slack leader design. This is a George Harvey dry fly leader. The leader has to be designed right. It has to be ready to build slack in like I'm talking about. This Harvey leader is ready to throw that slack in the right places. Show you something here. When I fish fast water, especially when I fish fast water, I grease up the tippet. Whether that's with something like mucilin, or in this case, paillette paste. It could just be your gel floatant. But I almost always grease up the leader because I don't want the leader, the tippet section especially, to go under the water. Now I do this even in slower water. And in that case, then I will only grease, let's say, from about a foot up. In this case, I'm just gonna go inches from the dry fly and grease it up. You don't need a lot, but grease the leader so it doesn't get buried by the currents. The leader can't float unless you kind of help it by mending, by keeping line up off of the water, by not letting it kind of suction into the surface currents, and by greasing it up. All right, so I moved up to really one of the faster pockets. And this is how I'd approach this. I mean, if I stand back there and try to lay line down in this fast water with 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of 5 or even 6 really different speeds of water, I don't care how good my crash cast is, I'm not gonna get as good of a drift as if I do it this way. So I just lay line down and then I pick it up. I'm gonna do the crash cast from this distance and then I pick it right up. Show you what I mean. Right in this pocket, I'm gonna put it down and pick it up. And then I'm gonna I could just almost tight line the whole thing. By tight line, I don't mean that I'm actually tight to the dry. I probably have 2 or 3 feet of tippet, even 4 feet of tippet on the water there. There, pick it back up. Right, and so I have to be close to make that happen. I'm forcing it down on the water. There's my crash cast, and then I pick it up. Again, line on the water is what creates drag, so pick the line up. Now here's the other thing. I guess, like, you know, when we do tight line stuff and I talk about a tuck cast, I'm stopping the rod here, the nymph goes out, the weight goes out, can't go out anymore, tucks down in. So you can kind of do that with a dry fly if you have a leader designed to do that. This leader isn't designed for that short, punchy, hard turnover. It's designed for this slack, which is actually better, again, for this dry, because instead of going here, don't do that. Instead of going here and tucking the dry in, you can see the leader doesn't have the energy to do that. So I can't get like a tuck cast down with the dry. I don't really want to anyway. I'm gonna force it down on the water and pick it up. I am forcing that line down and then I'm picking it back up. I wish I had a clever name for this. I don't. Just lay it down, pick it up. Lay it down kind of on your terms and pick up the excess. I'm not picking up the whole thing, just picking up the excess. Again, short range right here too. Put it down, pick it up. It's fast. There's a lot to do. It's put it down, pick it up. Anytime I can keep line off the water, out of the water, I'm doing that. I think that's kind of natural for me because I tight line nymphs so much. So it's just that principle. It makes sense. It's also the Tenkara principle. Keep line, extra line up, out of the water anytime you can. In this complex stuff, I'm coming under the tree limbs, I'm laying it down, I'm picking it up. When those fish are only 10 feet away from me, but I haven't spooked them because I'm behind them. And in these complex currents, they just don't know you're here. Pretty simple concept. You got to kind of be dedicated to it to make it happen. Hey. Hey now. All right, the third and final tip I really want to cover is just a lot of mending. Short, what we call a hop mend. I did an article on this. Josh and I did a full video on the hop mend. go check that out. This, I say hop mend because I don't want big reach mends. I don't want slow mending. Hops to me are short and quick. And you can see how I'm doing that. Putting it in, just mend. I'm not mending for no reason. I'm not mending because, oh, I cast and then mend right away. No, I'm mending for a reason. Sometimes I don't need to. I am mending that frequently just to aerialize the line. It goes back to the principle of keeping everything up and out of the water that you can. Everything off the water, well, it's not dragging, right? So here, mend, hop mend, hop mend. That line never really gets a chance to kind of suction into the surface. That's a perfect dead drift all the way down through there. And like I said, that's what's fun about fishing dries. Anyway, here, I'm not giving that line a chance to drag. I'm kind of back and forth too. I'm not always mending upstream. I also will mend to keep myself in position to set the hook. Sometimes a bigger mend, I'll do something like that. I got a lot of line to pick up, yeah, before I would actually come tight to the dry. So if I feel like I'd be a little out of touch, a little too out of touch when the fish eats, then I might mend that way. Whatever it takes to just be ready for those hits. You're building up slack, but not too much slack, and you just want it to be in a place, you want to be in a place where you can, boom, set the hook and be tight super quick. I'll say that too about in the faster water, I'm setting almost as fast as I can. In faster water, trout are going to come up and go right back down. They're not going to come up and easy, kind of eat lazy. So if a fish eats pretty fast on top, then I set pretty fast on top. I'm not really saying God save the queen and then set the hook. Fast water dry flies. Now remember, it doesn't matter how fast the water, as soon as things get complex, all of the things I'm talking about really matter. Remember 3 things, the lagging curve and the crash cast. Lay it down, then pick it up to keep line off the water. And then lots of hop mends, short, frequent mends, right? So be sure you check out the Fish and Film series. That's kind of the fishing part, right? This Troutbitten Tips series is kind of all about the educational side, and the Fish and Film videos are fishing, just showing stuff in action. Those are longer videos too. They usually be 20, 30, some of them have been like 45 minutes or so. So there really are a lot of great fishing opportunities in the fast water with dry flies. Like, learn to fish it, get some confidence, have some fun with it. All right? Fish hard, friends. Fish the fast water. Have fun out there.